Hey, you all, welcome back to the show. This is Andre. Yup, I said it. All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about the gun violence problem that we have here in the United States. All right. Senator John Kennedy had some interesting questions to ask the dean of Yale's School of Public Health. Okay. Specifically about Chicago, something that, I've been keeping an eye on for a very long time. I'm from a liberal city where there's a lot of gun violence, Baltimore, Maryland. But whenever it's talked about, people lose their heads. They deflect from it. They don't want to talk about it. They pull out the race card, as you'll see MSNBC do so conveniently to distract you from knowing what the real truth is.
Why do you think that Chicago has become America's largest outdoor shooting range? Do you think it's because of Chicago citizens who have no criminal record, but who have lawfully a gun in their home for protection or perhaps for hunting? Or do you think it's because of a finite group of criminals who have rap sheets as long as King Kong's arm?
So Mississippi, Louisiana, and Missouri actually have higher firearm death rates. Obviously, there's certain...
What about Chicago?
So I don't live in Chicago. It's not my primary area of research.
You don't have an opinion on that?
I think there's easy access to firearms combined with environmental conditions, lack of great education. There have actually been studies showing that when you green vacant lots and repair abandoned buildings in urban neighborhoods, you see decreases in gunshots, in violence, as well as in stress and depression in the neighborhoods around them.
No disrespect, Doc, but that sounds a lot like word salad to me.
Now, MSNBC is well known for the race hustling. I mean, that's what they do. That's, when you need a race hustler, when the mainstream media needs a race hustler, they turn to MSNBC. They're that good at it. When we're talking about the issue of gun violence, it gets overlooked way too often. Okay. I'm from a city that is pretty well known for gun violence. That's Baltimore, Maryland. Chicago, it's right there with Baltimore, Maryland, if not worse. The lives of young children are being taken almost on a daily basis. Teenagers left and right are getting shot down and killed in Chicago. This is a city. Okay. How is it that nothing has been done about it yet? When you look at the amount of murders happening in Chicago alone, it's more than some countries around the world. Okay. There has been countless shootings in Chicago. Everybody knows this. But for some reason, when you ask MSNBC about this, when they have to talk about it, they have to make it a race issue. I want you to take a look at this clip, and I want you to see it for yourself. This is absolutely disgusting. Here's why we can't solve the problem. Because every time you talk about it, you're called a racist. Okay? That's the only thing you are. That's the only thing that matters. Not the little children's lives that have been taken away. Okay? Hundreds, thousands of people shot annually in Chicago. But I want you to take a look at MSNBC, and I want you to see how they never talk about what the actual problem is or how to solve it.
You want to talk about word salad?
It's given racism, Mika.
That was racist, elitist, so condescending.
And ill-informed.
Ill-informed and insulting. Let's talk about the numbers the doctor was referring to. I can't believe this, man. It's repulsive, actually. what he just did, what we just showed you. According to the data from the CDC, 9 of the 10 states with the highest gun death rates in 2021 voted for Trump in the last election. That includes the senator's home state of Louisiana, which comes in at number 2. Illinois ranked 26th. And when you compare city metrics, Chicago is still statistically safer than major cities in the South. Chicago had a firearm homicide rate of 23.3 deaths per 100,000 residents, according to the city's police department. For context, St. Louis, Missouri had the highest rate in the nation with 76.4 deaths per 100,000. New Orleans had a death rate of 65.3 deaths. I don't know what you can add, but I'd love to hear it, Simone. I don't even know what to. I don't ever think I can interview this senator again without asking him about that and asking him to apologize to the American people for what he did in that question.
I'm very confused about the rap sheet because I don't know if he is insinuating, because Chicago is a city that many people associate with being majority African American, majority black, that the majority of the people in the city have rap sheets, i.e. black people do crime. I can't believe this is happening on the floor of the United States Congress, the Senate, nonetheless, supposed to be the greatest deliberative body in this country. But I think given the numbers that you just gave is really important, because there is an epidemic of gun violence in this country. And there is everyday gun violence that is happening, and it is happening in spaces and places all across the country. There are many people, and I think back to the mayor of Louisville, Kentucky, after the shooting that happened in the bank where the governor of Kentucky, one of his best friends, was killed in that shooting. And the mayor stood at a press conference and he said, I never imagined that something like this could happen here. And we should understand that it could happen everywhere. And I think his comments are really important because everywhere across the country, people are dealing with the epidemic of gun violence. And it's why the United States Congress should be doing something about it, especially the Senate. But this idea that crime and gun violence is relegated to areas that are majority black, majority urban areas is absolutely just not true. And the numbers and the facts and the data, it matters.
He knows that, right, Jen?
Well, first of all, the other statistic, I'm a parent, you're a parent, is that this is the number one killer of children, is gun violence. Everyone, you don't have to be a Republican, a Democrat, non-affiliated, don't vote. That should be something that is waking up people in horror every single day. The fact that it's not, you know why? And I hope when you talk to him and he comes on this show and you ask him this, how much is he getting from the NRA? And how much are they contributing to him? Because that is often the reason why so many people are so afraid of speaking out and voting in a way that, by the way, the majority of the public wants them to vote.
Do you know how hard it is to get a weapons permit in a Democrat state and a Democrat city? Do you know how hard that is? Okay, your average person give up, okay, when they find out everything they have to do to be able to get that permit. That's why most people in the inner cities, in the liberal cities, don't have weapons permits. All right. Only the elite, they have these weapons permits. Okay. This is why they have so much crime. Okay. It took me several months to get a weapons permit from Maryland when I lived in Maryland. Why? Because guns are bad. We need to get the guns off the street. No, you need to get criminals off of the street. Okay? Chicago is very problematic. They don't call it Chirac for no reason. Okay? As Jen Psaki said, yeah, it is the number one killer of children. Where is it happening? In the Democrat-ran cities and states. Okay? That's where it's happening. All right? They can say whatever they like. All right? Turn on local Chicago news any day of the week. Okay? It's outrageous. So many people get shot and killed on holiday weekends, any day of the week. You can just turn on the news. So when the MSNBC is telling you that it's happening all over the place. Yeah, gun violence does happen all over the place. But to the level of Chicago, the city of Chicago, other states just don't compare. Baltimore, that's a city. There are more deaths from gun violence, homicides in Baltimore City and Chicago than some small countries in the world today, okay? Like, look at the numbers. This is not an over-exaggeration. Andre doesn't know what he's talking about. I study this stuff, man. Okay? I'm trying to put together a documentary of black on black crime because nobody wants to talk about it. It's the one topic that nobody wants to talk about. Why? Because the people in those inner cities are hurting. They want someone to talk about it. They want someone to do something about it. Trust me, they really do. But when the news is telling you that it's racism for this man to speak about it, why would they ever get a chance to fix it? Why would they get justice when we can't even address the actual issues without calling it racism? It ain't got nothing to do with racism. Senator Kennedy wasn't trying to be racist. Okay? He was trying to get her to answer a question that he already knows the answer to. Why is it that there's so much crime in Chicago, in Baltimore? Is it the law-abiding citizens, or is it the criminals doing these acts? It's not the guns shooting people. They have soft on crime policies. Everybody knows it. Criminals won't turn in their guns. Everybody knows it. Little children are being shot down and killed and targeted, and everybody knows it. It's happening in Democrat cities and states, and everybody knows it. Don't let these people fool you into thinking that anybody is racist because they're talking about this, because they're asking questions about it. People are actually dying, children. So for all the victims and the families of the victims who have been killed in these inner cities, this video is for you. You have a voice. You simply need to take your vote away from these people who don't care about your city, your state, your well-being, your children. They don't care. Otherwise, they'd use their power to change it. It's not a hard thing to do. It's not a hard thing to do. But what happens when you arrest these criminals? And you get called a racist, of course. What happens when one of these criminals lose their lives? You get called a racist for it. This is a growing problem, man. This can be fixed, but it has to start with honesty. I wish that Jen Psaki was actually honest when she's saying that it's not a Republican or Democrat issue. It's an issue that we all need to agree on. Okay? Washington, D.C. is outrageous. All the liberal cities, every last one of the liberal cities, are being torn to pieces by criminals. Every last one of them. With the exception of maybe a few. When you hear about these places, man, don't think that it's not real. Don't think that these, you got drill music. You got a lot of things that contribute to this. Hollywood movies. A lot of things that contributed to this gun violence. Movies like Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood. This is where it started. That's why we don't allow our kids to just watch anything and everything. It's dangerous. We need to stop letting these people get off of the hook and pulling out the race card. This ain't got nothing to do with skin color. It's got everything to do with good and evil, period. If you're not calling out the criminals, you're part of the problem. If you're getting on TV and lying, MSNBC, you are a big part of the problem. People are suffering. What are you going to do? Their children are being shot down on the streets. What are you going to do? Guys, this is a very touchy subject to me. I grew up in the inner city. I've seen so much violence. It's unreal. If you're a white liberal and you don't understand this, keep your mouth out of it. If you don't see this stuff happening, stop talking about it. If you're not going to be honest, stop talking about it. Don't bring it up, because we don't need that. We need real solutions to the problem, and that's arming citizens, making it easier for citizens to defend themselves, not harder to get a gun permit. Maybe they could save some of their children. Maybe these men could get weapons permits and get training, and they could save some of their children. Maybe there's a war that needs to happen against these criminals who are just doing whatever they want. You got any other bright ideas? No, you don't. You got the race card, in which you pull out quite often. MSNBC, CNN. It has to stop. It will stop. You've got to start voting in the opposite direction. What you have been doing is not working. Stop letting the mainstream media tell you that everyone's racist. Look at the problems in your city. Look at the problems in your state. Who have you been putting in office and power? Who have you been putting in power? It's as simple as that. God will help you, but you need to make better decisions. Stop voting with your skin color and vote on your policies. Vote on what's right. They trick you every time. You're falling for the same thing, black communities. You're falling for it over and over. They get you every time with the race card. Don't you see? Stop letting them lie to you. I could talk about this all day, guys. Like and subscribe to my channel. I'm really going to work on this documentary. It is so important that we shine a light on this. We cannot expect anything to go right if this problem continues this way. Politicians can only do certain things. They can't do everything. The communities have to get tired of it. Stop being afraid of guns. Learn how to use one. Guys, thank you for watching my show. Until the next time, this is Andre. Yup, I said it.